we don't know where to start. African music has always been in London from time immemorial, as the Africans arrived here during the colonial days, as people were coming to study, and they brought with them their music. There's been bands that have been coming to London from those times. In the 60s, we had, for instance, people like Dudu Pukwana, who arrived here with the musical King Kong, then later on formed into a band. People like Fela Kuti, who were studying here and forming bands. People like Teddy Osei from Mosibisa, I think. They had a band called Asegai. Then those were the early bands that were here in the 60s. And ever since then, people have been forming bands throughout. Others with musicians who came to tour, then stayed on. And others who were students who used to play back home, as in my case, came here to study and also started playing here.
Okay, well, we will come back to your part, because many of us, we know you as a promoter, DJ, and now I hear you play in a band. But we'll come to that part. Kwesi, how did you get to know Wala?
Oh, I used to go to the Africa Center, as an African. When you come to a foreign land, initially where you try to look for places. And in my own small way, I found the Africa Center, where there used to be a lot of events, African events for everybody, anyway. That's how I met Wala. Wala was a DJ, was DJing and performing at that time. And then we've ever since been friends, and then as co-workers or whatever you put it.
Okay.
We've been working together since then.
Have you always been into music? Or?
No, not really. I don't think my parents, my mom especially, bless her, may she rest in peace. Well, as you know, most African parents at times they want you to have your education, and
they want you to be a doctor.
Be a lawyer. Doctors and accountants and lawyers.
You were in the people's band.
Lawyers of this world. So I did a bit of acting at school. Back in Ghana. So.
Now back to the music. You said that African music has been long time from the 60s and stuff like that. But you guys, we can actually say, without even being apologetic, that you have actually made African music. You brought African music to a different level. Everyone used to go to Africa Center. In fact, now it has got a big history because of you guys. Should we say so?
Yes, I think we should say so. There was a lot of work done for that. I mean, we consciously set out to promote African music at the Africa Center when we realized there was no regular music nights there, and we felt the Africa Center, as a cultural hub in the whole of Europe, should actually host African music. And I think we proved right by the success that later on followed with the creation of Limpopo Club.
Oh, so that's how Limpopo Club came to be?
Yes, Limpopo Club came to be as a conscious effort to promote African music in London, initially, Europe, UK.
Right, now with Limpopo, we're going to just dive in quickly. You have got memorable bands or musicians that you can talk about that you have actually hosted at the Africa Center as Limpopo Club.
Yes, we have lots of musicians who passed through us. A lot of them were coming to debut their very first ever performances in the UK or overseas, abroad. They would usually find themselves playing at the Africa Center as their first gig or their last gigs, So we had people like Remy Ongala, who dearly loved to play there. We've had people like, Baba Mal, the initial people to come and start playing the Africa Center, Kanda Bongo Man, Pongo Love.
The names go on.
Yeah, so many names,
Yes. You see, I was listening to the radio just a couple of days ago on Radio 4. Angelique Kidjo was on Radio 4. But I am sure that before even she became known or where she is now, you must have hosted the names like Angelique Kidjo, is it?
Yes, we would safely say we're the first people to promote Angelique Kidjo here in the UK with Mama Africa, Akina Mama Africa as a combined thing, but Limpopo taking the lead in that. We brought Angelique for 3 days. She performed the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I remember the first Thursday, there was hardly any people there. Then the audience started building up through her own performances and popularity. Friday and Saturday, there was virtually no space left for anybody to get in.
Mm. So you see now, when you look back at Africa Set, which we'll go back to there, what really do you miss that sort of environment or time?
Oh yeah, there were so many happy faces, as we put it, and we didn't have a selfish motive. You know, the whole idea of Limpopo was to share with the whole world. So we miss the situation where we see people happy. And I don't think any money in the world can buy that. I mean, that's the asset that we created over the years with Limpopo Club.
Yeah.
So with that, from that aspect, yeah, we miss that gathering of nice people. Yeah.
And the Limpopo Club is your idea. You actually financed it. You are kind of self-funded.
Yes, we were supporting it from our own pockets right throughout to the last 2 years of the Limpopo, the Africa Center, where we got a grant from the Arts Council. But other than that, we paid for everything. I'm sure a lot of the musicians will be surprised to know that. A few of them used to think we're getting lots of money from somewhere, but it was really a self-financing project.
So, you know, if we said that, mention all the names that you have hosted here, we could spend 6 months. So, but go through those names from Africa that you really have hosted at the Africa Center. Just an example. Yeah. Then we'll come to the African bands.
There's lots of them. I mean, one has to consider that we've been running that club for over 25 years, and that we were putting a band every week for, I don't know how many weeks are in a year?
52.
52 weeks. So imagine we're having 52 bands.
Fully loaded.
Yeah.
Minimum of 52 bands.
Yeah, every year. And for those number of years. So we have had lots of people pass through, but to mind, there's quite a few names that stick out, people who we gave that platform and went on to become bigger bands on the international scene. People like Bundu Boys, Kandabongo Men, Angelique Kidjo, Baba Mal, Bembeya Jazz,
Les Amazons de Guinea.
Les Amazons de Guinea.
Beautiful bands, so many bands.
So many. The African
bands. So many,
yes. The Mushroom.
Yes. Jimmy Katumba.
Yeah.
That is from Uganda.
That's right.
CK Man.
CK Man
from Ghana. In Nigeria, so many bands, you know. We work with so many bands.
Dele Sosomi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're still playing at the moment.
We have talked about the musicians that you have hosted. Big names, of course, you know. Thomas Mafumo, Oliver Mtukuzi, all that, you have seen that.
Yes, we've seen right from the beginning.
So now the African musicians here based in London, I'm sure you also tried to help them as much as you can. Can you name a few bands that would have actually probably gone on to be bigger bands?
Yes, we had lots of good African bands who were here. I mean, people like Abdul TJ's Rokoto, which used to be called African Culture at some point.
Yes.
And then we also have...
Yourself?
I was one musician.
But you played a part, very important part.
Tam.
Okay.
Taxi Pata Pata.
Taxi Pata Pata.
Boombaya.
That is Alfred.
Alfred Benjamin, yes, yeah. Alfred Benjamin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have got also this percussion player, Papa J. Did you manage to deal with him at some point?
Oh yeah, we play with Papa J. Papa J comes from a band with CK Man's band in Ghana. In fact, he played on an album called Funky High Life in the 70s. So Papa has been around. But we since worked with him, and we've worked with him on so many numerous occasions at the Limpopo Club. So it's all part of the big family, as we say. Yeah.
High Life International.
High Life International. Yeah. That's it. So many bands.
Now, you see, we're gonna come to this question. You see, where the African music is today, what do you think really went wrong? Oh, is there anything went wrong? Because African music, it has kind of taken a back seat. What do you think that is?
I think a lot of factors will come into play. Like anything in life, you need a home. Everything starts from the house. So, for me personally, I would say it needed a place where it would be identified as a venue for playing for African musicians to play there. That is lacking at the moment. And then we were lucky, through our hard work as well. Everything came together around that time. There was quite a bit of airplay as well on the major stations and things like that. The Paris station times where it was just starting as well. So we were able to dabble in all those things. At the moment,
I mean, we played quite a pivotal role in the sense that we supported the music. We helped to develop the music. So we're not just promoting bands. We'll take on bands, show them the ropes, how to deal with the industry, give them advice on where else to play apart from the Africa Center, where to outsource equipment, where to record, how to publicize yourself, get photographers to come and do professional pictures for them and videos and so forth. So we're not just a promotion, we're more than a promotion, we're into developing the bands. And I think in a way what has really happened was the lack of support for the industry to support the African musician when they're here. There's not been that much help anyway in terms of recording contracts. There's virtually been non-existent, especially for the London-based musicians. It looked like a lot of the companies were paying the attentions to groups that were coming direct from Africa, like Bundu Boys, signed on CBS and so forth. But in terms of the African bands based in London,
so what do you think that was really? Because you see, if you have got a band here, why could they be signed by... Why would a band like Bundu Boys come all the way from Africa and get a contract, but not the bands based here?
I think like anything else, you needed a lot of nurturing. You need a lot of patience in this industry. But obviously, people in business or in the music industry, they want just quick fixes, really. I mean, I might be wrong, but that's the way I look at it. It's a long-term project. So it's not like you come in when you feel like and then, leave it when it's had its challenges. And that's what it's lacking. And then obviously people have got diverse ideas as well. As musicians living in London, there are so many challenges. Some have to work, at the expense of the music, things like that. So it needed an establishment which will have looked after all these issues. And then I think that's quite lacking, because let's take the theater, for instance, in this country. It's, no matter what, we can call it elitist, whatever it is, but it always gets support from central government as well. They get a lot of money from central government. And we don't have an established institution like that would cater for all these challenges in music. So I think that aspect, makes it a bit challenging for everybody.
Is he right?
In a way, I agree.
You guys have been friends for a long time, so I know you.
He's right, but also, I mean, I'm also of the firm mind that people here are not hungry. The artists here are not hungry enough to go for it. I mean, when you're looking at people in Africa, it's like do or die. There's nothing else for you except that. and they work on those bases. But here, there are those other alternatives that can make people survive, and often that kind of drifts them away from their focus,
They're relaxed.
Yes, in a way,
No, you are right in a way, because in Africa, when we play, we started to play in clubs from 8 o'clock in the night. We finish 6.
Right.
And if we stop people, the crowd will complain. They will say, "You don't know how to play."
Exactly.
That's right.
Just because But you see,
you come here, then what happens? You play for 45 minutes,
You need stamina.
and a break, then you go back 45 minutes and you're finished.
And
You're
then-
done.
yes,
Yeah.
and in fact, that brings to mind, if you remember when we used to take bands into studio, when they touring, because they got so much repertoire, that we had to edit the music to fit the program here. They might play all night, so maybe you edit it to about a 1 hour set each way, maybe 2 hours sort of a live set. And I mean, with that, some of the musicians complain because they feel that they were just warming up, and then they asked to stop, But so it needs stamina, it needs determination, and then people have to focus as well, which might be, with due respect to everybody, I'm not saying it's the generality of the whole situation. Some of the brothers are not that driven much enough to face those challenges. So,
do you mean they lack the discipline?
Yes,
Discipline and the hunger that you...
Yeah, well, it's that. Because some of the guys we're talking about are people who were performing. They came here performing with bands and then stayed over. And you would have thought this gives them ample chance to be able to do whatever they wanted to do, bearing in mind now they have better recording studios here, better equipment. But often they just would join the others who've been here, not been doing anything at all,
Yeah, but then, how about what would you say to those musicians who will turn around and blame the promoters? They would say the promoters, they are chopping their money, they are not paid, blah blah blah. Do you really think do they have any point on that?
No, I think, well, in some cases they do have points, but in our case we have examples where band leaders, or they would use that as a way of actually trying to take money away from their musicians. A few times it has happened. We won't mention names, but we were told because Wala didn't give us enough money yesterday when we would have paid them. But it's a way they give as an excuse of keeping the whole money to themselves. But we challenge them in front of their fellow musicians, and
Our last segment is very simple, really. The state of African music where we are now. What do you really think it needs to be done to recover its glories of the 70s and 80s, 90s, basically? What do you really think? Because you touched the point that these bands needs a home, there's nowhere to play, and what is the possibility of recovering that?
I think that is needed. There needs to be an industry to support the African music, a conscious effort to go out and promote African music, support through the radios, through the television. Right now we don't see that. We hardly see African bands on television. At some point in the 80s, there were things that were happening. Then you would see occasionally the Four Brothers on BBC, a documentary on Bundu Boys, but these days you hardly see anything like that.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say that with modern technology today, where you've got iTunes, you've got YouTube, a band can actually make their own videos. I've seen pop bands that are coming from that area. Arctic Monkeys, they were actually performing in their living rooms. Maybe is it because the African bands, they lack focus?
Not entirely. I mean, there is an African band which was number 1 on iTunes only last month. Makumba band, which came.
That
from
one
Zimbabwe.
is fire, my friend.
So so while we are saying,
Yeah.
there is hope. You can see that it can be done.
Yeah.
People are coming, but this is just only one-off thing. Then you get the odd one band that comes in and does something, then quiet all of a sudden. But
it needs that consistency as well, because when we used to run the club, people were even the feedback we used to get, like, oh, I never listened to African music before. You understand me? So we need that exposure, and all the parties have to work hard as well. We have to work hard.
So
and,
basically, what you are saying, Limpopo, it promoted the music regardless of whether you are black or Chinese or yellow.
It didn't matter.
You wanted to promote African music.
No, we promoted African music.
To I'm talking about the audience.
Yeah, the audience. No, to everybody.
To the totality of the world.
To everybody.
Everybody.
What
yes.
we're doing is
yes.
we're giving a platform
yes.
to our African musicians, to the world. You know, so it was like home away from home for us who lived here. You know, this is home. Africans would come, they would meet other people, they would dance with them, they will explain the music to the other audiences, which really helped. I think, if anything, that was always a winner for Africa Center, because you had Africans who were there. If there was Japanese, they wanted to know about African music. The audience themselves would be saying, you see what they're doing now? What he's singing about? What is... So it helped, you know, to sell the music to other people. And also in the fact that in between those big shows that you have at the Barbican, there was nothing else in between.
It's a big gap.
But Limpopo was always there consistently doing something. So if you enjoyed a band, an African band at the Barbican, and you're wondering where next to go to, Limpopo was always there, filling that gap until when another band comes again somewhere else in a bigger venue. So we're constantly threading African music throughout, but now it's not like that anymore.
But to add to that, even prior to having them at the Barbican and the South Bank, there was nothing like that was even happening. I don't know, I might be wrong. I stand corrected on that. But people saw what we were doing with Limpopo, so they had the idea that, okay, we can put this band maybe at the Barbican, what have you, and all that. And because the audience had been created already anyway. You know, and then so far people can smell money, then obviously they'll go into that venture. But we love the music, you know. For us, it was a way of life. Yeah. Understand me? Unfortunately, we didn't make money out of it. We broke even most nights. So that was the projection, the target, at least to break even, and, you know, musicians get paid and things like that. But you have to love the music first. You have to love what you're doing first. And I'm sure we were 100% dedicated to what we did, despite the lack of resources and all that. You know, so we played our part. I'm not like praising ourselves or whatever, but that's a reality. That is what we did.
You have. You know? You should win many awards, because nobody's gonna.
We're still waiting. Maybe one day.
So where is Limpopo now? What is happening with Limpopo?
Limpopo, with the demise of the Africa Center, the building, we become like a roving club. So we go from different venues to different places. So we could be in Scotland this week, we could be in Birmingham the next week, we could be in Sheffield. So we take the club around. The concept still exists in the club, in a different venue, in different spaces. So it's still there. Limpopo is still there. We're still trying to do as much of the same work as we're doing, although with the limitations of not having a venue. We try our best to keep the ethos moving.
Going,
But gentlemen, I know I need probably a year talking with you, because you have been doing this one for how long?
Well, in your case,
30 years, well over 30 years.
Yeah, and of course you are a drummer as well.
Amongst many other things. I mean, well, yes, I've played, but I've also, wanting to do music, I've also been to train as a sound engineer, and also with the association, even lighting with the Association of British Theatre Technicians.
So you've got so many things that you can do that many people don't know.
No, this was all in a way to further our ambitions at Limpopo, because often you find that you had to do it to know. You needed to.
You have to do everything by yourself.
So
you have to roll your sleeves.
Yeah.
Okay. So now,
in doing so, we're able to train other people to come in and work with us as sound engineers, as lighting technicians, as stage managers. So we needed to know that first to train other people.
I'll give you an example. Proud to what people saw at the Africa Center, even the setting and all those things. We didn't have a stage in the early days. So we had to build a stage. Like every night we had to build a stage and dismantle it. So until we had a permanent stage. So you have to be, to be able to, you should be in a position to do everything. Clean the floors, what have you.
Then bought the PA. When the PA broke down, we had to learn how to repair PA systems.
PA, yes.
Because we have got a product, we need to work with promoters and agents. So what sort of advice would you actually give us now? You are talking to us. What do we need to do? Because we have talked about focus. We have talked about we are not hungry for basically for
success.
Success.
Yeah. Well, we can't even talk about success without even organizing
functioning.
Yeah. So what exactly would you actually emphasize on these points?
I think first is to take your art form very seriously. I mean, the concept of it, you need to develop it, intellectualize it, control the whole process of creating, marketing, to be able to understand what you're doing rather than to start off and give it to others to carry the burden of marketing for you, where in this country you can do all that by yourself, or at least understand how, these things work.
And it's like anything in life. If we bless the talent that people are blessed with, so we shouldn't take it for granted. We should put it into use. And as well I explained, in all aspects or spheres of, of life, discipline, hard work, honesty, love, all the nice good things in life. And I think with that we can achieve, our goals.
Yeah.
Together.
See, in one of your gigs, I happen to have this clip that I've recorded for a Congolese musician now. He lives in America. Is it New Jersey? Samba Mapangala.
Yes, Samba. Yes, yes.
You promoted a whole lot of people around the world, basically. Would you encourage networking at some point?
Yes, I think
Very much so.
networking is the way forward too. Because we need to find out what other people know and what others, what is our skills mix as we gather here. Some musicians, like people like Abdul TJ, are trained bankers. They could help others with how to do their accounts.
Abdul TJ is a trained banker.
Yes, he's a banker. Emil from Super Combo, he's a librarian. There's so many skills that we have other than just playing music that we could utilize to help ourselves to develop further.
Exactly, yes.